The cold stars shone brightly over the barren planet of Zilara. The ground was rough and rocky, with deep canyons cutting through its surface like giant scars. Strange purple plants grew in small groups, and the thin atmosphere made breathing difficult for many species. But for the Zinthari, this place was just another step in their great empire's expansion. The Zinthari were a proud and powerful alien race. Their bodies were tall and strong, with dark green skin and sharp eyes that glowed faintly in the dark. They were known across the galaxy for their skill in war and strategy. For centuries, they had conquered planet after planet, claiming new worlds for their empire. On this day, the Zinthari army marched across Zilara's rocky surface. Thousands of soldiers moved in perfect formation, their weapons ready and their minds focused on victory. At their head stood Commander Varkon, a fierce leader with many battles behind him. He was confident this fight would be easy. "Today we will crush these weak humans," Varkon told his commanders. "They have no chance against the might of the Zinthari Empire. Prepare for a quick victory." But Varkon did not know the truth. The humans who lived in this part of the galaxy were not like other species. They were small in number, yes, and they did not have the same heavy armor or massive ships. But they were clever, adaptable, and fearless. As the Zinthari forces moved closer to the area where the humans were last seen, they found signs of life. Broken branches, footprints in the dust, and strange, small machines left behind as traps. "Scouts report movement ahead," a young officer shouted. "Send the scout. Teams forward. We will find these humans and crush them before they can hide," Varkon ordered. The first Zinthari scout teams moved cautiously into the canyon. They carried heavy rifles and energy shields, prepared for any attack. But the humans were ready. Hidden in the rocks and shadows, the human scout unit watched quietly. They were a small group of 6 soldiers led by Captain Rhea Morgan, a young but skilled leader. Her brown eyes scanned the horizon carefully. "Remember, we are outnumbered," she whispered to her team. "We can't fight them head-on. Use the terrain. Use the traps. Make them think we are many." The humans had learned long ago that brute strength alone would not win this war. Instead, they used guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run attacks, ambushes, and clever tricks. Suddenly, a Zinthari scout stepped into a trap. A hidden net sprung from the ground and caught him. Before he could call for help, a sharp human dart hit his neck. He fell silently. The humans moved quickly, firing their pulse rifles from behind rocks and then disappearing before the aliens could aim properly. "Keep moving," Captain Morgan shouted. "Don't let them surround us." The battle was fierce, but short. The humans knew the land better and used every advantage. They set traps in narrow passes, making the larger Zinthari soldiers trip and fall. They used small, fast drones to confuse the enemy and block their sensors. The Zinthari warriors, proud and strong, were not used to this kind of fight. They expected a fair battle with clear lines and strong attacks. Instead, they faced shadows, traps, and strange devices that made their movement slow and dangerous. Commander Varkon grew angry. "Why can't we find these humans?" he demanded. "Why do they fight like ghosts?" One of his lieutenants replied, "They use the planet against us. Their weapons are strange but deadly. Our forces are spread too thin." "Then tighten the lines," Varkon shouted. "We will flush them out." But the humans continued to fight with skill and courage. Captain Morgan's team worked like a single unit, covering each other and striking quickly. They even used old Earth tactics, smoke bombs, decoys, and loud noises to confuse the enemy. At one point, Captain Morgan climbed a rocky hill and spotted the main Zinthari force below. The soldiers were tired and confused. Their heavy armor made moving difficult on this rough ground. She smiled. "This is our chance," she said quietly. "We will hit their supply line, cut off their food and weapons." With a small group, she moved silently through the rocks. The Zinthari supply camp was lightly guarded. The humans attacked with speed and precision, destroying the supplies and setting fires. When the Zinthari soldiers realized what was happening, it was too late. Their morale dropped. They began to wonder if these humans were more than simple scouts. Back on the battlefield, a Zinthari commander called out, "We are losing too many soldiers. Retreat and regroup." But Varkon refused. No, we fight until the last breath. These humans will learn the price of underestimating the Zinthari. Dar. Battle raged on. But it became clear the Zinthari were not winning. The humans' small unit was holding strong, and the damage they caused was far beyond what anyone expected. Finally, after hours of fighting, the Zinthari commanders ordered a retreat. Their soldiers pulled back, exhausted and beaten, while Captain Morgan's team disappeared into the shadows. Commander Varkon watched from his command post. His eyes burned with frustration. How could a small human scout unit defeat my army? How? The other commanders whispered among themselves. Maybe humans are stronger than we thought. But Varkon refused to accept it. He vowed to find out more about these humans. They had only fought a small scout unit. What would happen if the full human military arrived? As the stars shone over Zilara, the humans prepared to send their report back to Earth. They had won this battle, but the war was only beginning. Captain Morgan looked at her team, tired but proud. We showed them what humans can do, she said. And this is just the start. The planet Zilara grew quiet after the fierce battle. The Zinthari forces had retreated, confused and wounded. But far from the battlefield, hidden among rocky hills and strange purple plants, the human scout unit prepared for what was next. Captain Rhea Morgan stood beside a small fire, her face lit by the flickering orange flames. Her team sat around her, tired but alert. 6 soldiers, each one skilled in a different kind of combat. They were small in number, but together they were strong. Rhea looked at each of them with pride. There was Jax, the expert marksman who never missed his target. Lena, the tech specialist, who could hack into enemy machines and control small drones. Malik, the heavy weapons expert, who carried a powerful plasma launcher. Sam, the scout who knew every kind of terrain and could move like a shadow. And finally Tira, the medic, who kept them all alive and healthy. We did well today, Rhea said softly. The Zinthari didn't expect us. But this fight was only a small part of a larger war. She looked at the rocky horizon where the enemy had disappeared. We can't stay here long. They will come back stronger. The others nodded. They understood the danger. The Zinthari were powerful and many. But humans had something the aliens did not, the ability to learn fast and change their plans. Captain, Lena said, tapping her wrist computer. Our sensors picked up a Zinthari ship entering the system. They are sending scouts to look for us. Rhea frowned. They want to find us again. We need to move. The human unit packed their gear carefully and began moving through the rough terrain. Their mission was simple: gather information about the enemy and survive. Rhea led them to a hidden cave system, a place known only to her team. The caves were deep and twisted, perfect for hiding and launching surprise attacks. Inside, the team rested and planned their next steps. Rhea opened a small holographic map showing the enemy's positions and movement. The Zinthari think humans are weak, she said quietly. But they don't know what we can do. We fight smarter, not just harder. Jax checked his rifle. I heard from the scouts on the ship that the Zinthari commanders are confused. They don't understand how a small human unit caused so much damage. Lena smiled. That's because we don't fight like they do. We use hit and run, traps, and technology. Malik added, and we know how to use the planet, the canyons, the rocks, the plants. Everything helps us. Rhea nodded. Exactly. We don't have their numbers or armor, but we have our minds and our will. The human team began setting new traps around their base using small devices that could explode or send out loud noises to confuse the enemy. Lena controlled drones that flew silently above, watching for any movement. Days passed and the humans kept sending reports back to Earth. They used hidden communication channels, careful not to reveal their location. The data was important. It told of the Zinthari's strength, numbers, and strategy. Far away on Earth, military leaders and scientists studied the reports. They were amazed at the human scout unit's success. But they also knew the war was only beginning. The Zinthari Empire was huge, and this small team could not stop it alone. Back on Zalara, Ria's team faced many dangers. The planet was harsh, violent storms, dangerous animals, and deadly terrain. But the humans adapted. They used their skills to survive and fight. One night, as they rested in the caves, Tira checked the wounds of a young recruit who had been scratched by a strange insect. "This planet is full of surprises," she said softly. "We have to be careful." Ria looked outside at the stars. She thought about Earth, her home planet, and the families waiting for their soldiers to return. "We fight for them," she said to her team. "For all humanity." Suddenly, Lena's drones detected something moving in the distance, a group of Zinthari soldiers. They were scouting the area, searching for the humans. "Prepare yourselves," Ria whispered. "This could be a trap." The humans moved into position, hidden behind rocks and in the shadows. They waited silently. The Zinthari soldiers approached slowly, their weapons ready. But the humans were faster. They attacked suddenly, using their traps and weapons. The fight was quick and fierce. Jax took down 2 enemies with precise shots. Malik fired his plasma launcher, forcing the others to retreat. After the fight, Ria studied the captured alien. She saw fear in its eyes. "We are not just soldiers," she said. "We are the first line of defense. If we fail, more will come." The captured Zinthari was taken as a prisoner. Lena began to study his technology, looking for weaknesses. As days turned into weeks, the small human unit continued their dangerous mission. They gathered intelligence, sabotaged enemy supplies, and survived impossible odds. Their courage and skill made the Zinthari commanders nervous. The aliens began to realize that humans were different, unpredictable, smart, and strong in ways they had never seen. One day, Ria received a message from Earth. The full human military was preparing to enter the war. "We won't be alone for long," she told her team. "But until then, we hold the line." The scout unit had become more than just a group of soldiers. They were a symbol of human strength and hope. Captain Morgan looked at her team and smiled. "This is just the beginning. The galaxy will remember what humans can do." The Zinthari war room was dark and tense. Commander Varkon stood before a large glowing map of the battlefield on Zalara. Red dots marked the locations of his scattered forces. Many were damaged or missing. The Zinthari commanders gathered around, their faces grim. "How did this happen?" Varkon demanded. "A small human scout unit caused this much damage? It cannot be." One of his lieutenants, Kalar, stepped forward. "Commander, our intelligence reports underestimated humans. They are more skilled and better prepared than we thought." Another commander growled. "They fight with unusual tactics. Hit and run, traps. They do not follow the rules of war like we do." Varkon's eyes narrowed. "Rules or no rules, we are the strongest army in this part of the galaxy. How could a few humans stand against thousands of us?" The commanders shared worried glances. For the first time, doubt crept into their minds. The Zinthari had faced many enemies before, but none like these humans. Meanwhile, far from the war room, Captain Ria Morgan and her team continued their mission on Zalara. They knew the enemy was confused, but the danger had not passed. Ria sat with Lena and Jax reviewing recent data. "The Zinthari don't expect us, but they will come back. Bigger, stronger." Lena nodded. "We intercepted some of their messages. They are talking about how unpredictable humans are. They don't know how to fight us." Jax smiled. "Good. Let them be confused. We will keep them guessing." But Ria's expression was serious. "We can't just survive. We need to find a way to stop them." The humans sent their reports back to Earth. Military leaders there read every word carefully. They realized that the small scout unit's success was a sign of human strength and potential. General Harris, commander of Earth Space Forces, stood before his officers. "These humans have shown incredible courage and skill, but the Zinthari are a powerful enemy. We must prepare for a larger war." Back on Zalara, the Zinthari commanders held a secret meeting. Kalar suggested a new plan. We must study the humans, learn their weaknesses. They may be small, but their tactics are dangerous. Varkan agreed, but still felt pride in his army. We will send spies and saboteurs, find their secrets and crush them. The humans, unaware of the new threat, worked hard to improve their defenses. Malik and Lena developed new weapons and traps. Tira trained the team in survival skills. One night, Rhea looked at the stars again. We are not just fighting for survival. We fight for the future of humanity. Suddenly, a small drone hovered near their camp. Lena grabbed it quickly. It was a Zinthari spy drone. We have to be more careful, she warned. They are watching. The human unit moved deeper into the caves. They set new traps and prepared for the next battle. The Zinthari commanders continued to struggle. They could not believe that a small scout unit had caused them so much trouble. Varkan clenched his fists. This is no ordinary enemy. Humans are stronger than any race we have faced, the commanders agreed. The war was changing. The story of the small human scout unit spread across the galaxy. Other species began to respect humans' courage and intelligence. Captain Morgan's team became a symbol of hope. Even the toughest soldiers looked up to them. As the stars shone over Zilara, both sides prepared for the coming storm. The battle was far from over. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were becoming warriors the galaxy would never forget. Across the stars, on Earth and its colonies, the news spread like fire. A single human scout unit had resisted an elite Zinthari force. People everywhere were surprised. Then they felt something deeper: pride. News networks showed short clips from the battlefield. Images of Captain Rhea Morgan and her team defending against an overwhelming alien army became viral. The people began calling them the Ghost Unit. In training camps, new recruits watched their mission reports. On warships, commanders studied their tactics. Even children in schools whispered stories of brave humans fighting in the shadows of a faraway planet called Zilara. Back on that very planet, inside a hidden cave system, Captain Morgan sat at a small metal table with her team. A message from Earth glowed in front of them. Scout Team Echo 7, the entire world is proud of you. Hold your position. Reinforcements are coming. Tira, the team's medic, smiled for the first time in days. They called us heroes. Jax, the sharpshooter, chuckled. About time someone noticed. But Captain Morgan's face stayed serious. We're not finished. The Zinthari won't accept this defeat. They'll return, with more numbers and heavier weapons. Lena tapped her tablet. She's right, I just picked up large troop movements from orbit. I think they're bringing armored vehicles this time. Malik, the heavy weapons specialist, loaded a new power cell into his launcher. Then we'll just make them regret that too. Even with more enemy troops on the way, none of them wanted to retreat. They had become more than just a scout team. They were the first line between the Zinthari and the rest of humanity. On Earth, thousands of light years away in Earth's main military headquarters, high-level leaders met around a large digital table. Maps of the galaxy floated in the air, above them. General Harris pointed to a red area marked Zinthari expansion. The Zinthari thought they could take our edge systems quietly, he said. But that scout team showed them. Humans don't roll over. Not anymore. Another officer added, the unit held out longer than expected. Their reports are valuable. They exposed weak spots in the Zinthari's strategy. A younger commander leaned forward. So what do we do now? General Harris answered firmly. We send more than thanks. We send a message. Across space, Earth's fleets began to mobilize. Warships that had been silent for years powered up. New weapons were loaded. Soldiers trained harder, faster. Humanity had faced alien threats before, but this was the first time they were fighting not just for defense but for position in the galaxy. Back on Zilara, the Ghost Unit remained in their cave hideout. They had been there for over 2 weeks now, living on ration packs and recycled water. Still, no one complained. Captain Morgan moved through the tunnel system, inspecting traps and talking to each member one by one. She made sure they were mentally ready as much as physically. In one quiet corner of the cave, Lena worked with wires and small machines. Her fingers moved fast. "What are you building this time?" Rhea asked. "A signal booster," Lena replied. "If the Zinthari jam our comms again, we'll still be able to talk to Earth. Maybe even call in the new fleet." "Smart," Rhea said. "Just don't blow us up." Lena grinned. "No promises." Jax and Malik worked together on a plan to block enemy tanks from entering the valley below. They had turned large boulders into trap triggers, using gravity, to their advantage. Simple, but deadly. That night, a storm hit the planet. Wind howled through the canyons. Thunder rumbled in the sky. The Zinthari would not attack during a storm, Rhea guessed, but they would come soon after. She looked up at the ceiling of the cave. "I wonder what Earth looks like right now." Tira, sitting near the fire, replied softly, "Probably watching us. Probably waiting. The return of the enemy." The next day the storm passed. With it came the sound of engines, deep and loud like metal giants walking across the land. "They've arrived," Jax whispered. From the top of a rocky cliff they saw them. Zinthari armored units, tanks with energy cannons, hundreds of soldiers marching in formation. It looked like a full invasion, but the ghost unit didn't panic. "They don't know we're still watching," Rhea said. "Let's make them wish they never came." The human team moved quickly. They triggered traps that collapsed cliffs and buried roads. They hacked enemy sensors using stolen Zinthari tech. Lena's drones sent back real-time updates on the enemy's every move. Then, at the perfect moment, they struck. From above the canyon, Jax sniped the lead Zinthari officer. Malik fired explosive rounds into a group of vehicles, setting off a chain of fiery blasts. Rhea led the charge to steal one of the Zinthari's mobile command units. In under 10 minutes, the enemy formation broke. Confused and under attack from an unseen force, many began to retreat, but the fight wasn't without risk. A drone exploded near Sam, the scout. He was thrown back, unconscious. Tira rushed to him, working fast. "He'll make it," she said. "But we need to fall back now." Rhea agreed. "Everyone back to the cave. We're not losing anyone today." One voice, one mission. That night they received another message. This time it was not just from Earth. It came from several human colonies. "You are not alone. We are with you. Hold the line and the fleet arrives in 5 days." Captain Morgan looked around at her tired but strong team. "We're not just soldiers anymore," she said. "We're the reason they're fighting. We gave Earth time. We gave them hope." Jack smiled. "Not bad for a scout team." As the stars lit the sky once again, the ghost unit slept for a few short hours. The planet was quiet for now, but everyone knew the war was just beginning, and when it came, humanity would not be afraid. The stars burned brightly over the rocky world of Zilara as the small human scout unit waited in silence. Captain Rhea Morgan sat quietly, her eyes on the sky. For weeks, they had fought, survived, and outsmarted the powerful Zinthari army. But now hope was near. From deep space, the human fleet approached. After years of quiet tension, Earth had finally sent its full strength. Massive warships with heavy weapons, fighters ready to launch, and thousands of soldiers stood prepared to face the alien threat. In the cave base, the ghost unit gathered to watch the sky through a small opening. Lena's upgraded sensors picked up the fleet's approach. "They're coming," she said softly. "Reinforcements." Rhea nodded. "We've done all we can. Now, we fight together." The team checked their weapons and gear. Malik loaded extra plasma rounds. Jax cleaned his rifle. Tira made sure everyone was ready for any injury, but even with reinforcements, the danger was far from over. The Zinthari's final plan, in the dark halls of the Zinthari command ship, Commander Varkon clenched his claws tightly. He had underestimated humans. Their small scout unit had cost him dearly. "Send everything we have," Varkon ordered. "No mercy. Crush them before the humans' fleet arrives." His officers looked worried but obeyed. The Zinthari launched a massive assault on Zilara. Ground troops, armored tanks, flying war machines. Their goal was simple: Wipe out the humans before they could unite with their fleet. Back on the planet, the humans watched the approaching army. Ria's team had prepared traps and defenses, but the enemy was huge. We can't stop all of them, Malik said grimly. We don't have to, Ria replied. We just have to hold until our fleet arrives. The battle begins. The ground shook as the Zinthari army advanced through the rocky canyons. Energy weapons flashed. Explosions echoed. Ria's team moved swiftly, guiding Earth's reinforcements to safe landing zones. They used their knowledge of the terrain to set ambushes and traps. Jax took position on a cliff, picking off enemy commanders. Lena's drones flew overhead, sending back critical information about enemy movements. The battle was fierce. Malik's plasma launcher roared as he destroyed a tank column. Tira moved quickly between wounded soldiers, saving lives in the chaos. Despite their smaller numbers, the humans fought with courage and intelligence. We are the edge of Earth's defense, Ria shouted. Hold the line, unexpected ally in. The middle of the fight, something unexpected happened. A ship flew out of the Zinthari fleet. Not a warship, but a small craft with strange markings. It landed near the human base. Out stepped an alien, but not Zinthari. It was a member of the virile race, a species long thought neutral. We want peace, the virile said. The Zinthari's war harms us all. Ria studied the alien carefully. Could they trust this stranger? The virile offered weapons and information, details about the Zinthari's weaknesses and plans. This helped surprise the humans, but also gave them hope. We are not alone, Ria said quietly to her team. There are others who want the war to end. Turning the tide with the virile's help, the humans pushed back the Zinthari forces. The new information allowed Lena to disrupt enemy communications, causing confusion. Earth's fleet arrived fully, their massive warships landing soldiers and heavy equipment. The battle grew in scale. Space fighters clashed above the planet, while soldiers fought for every inch of ground below. The Zinthari commanders were shocked. Their carefully planned attack was failing. Humans fight like no other, Varkon growled. They adapt, they survive. And now, they have allies. The tide was turning. A new beginning. As the sun set on the bloodied fields of Zilara, the fighting slowed. The Zinthari forces began to retreat, their power broken for now. Captain Morgan stood with her team and new allies. They had faced impossible odds and lived. We did it, Tira whispered. Ria looked at the horizon. This war is far from over, but today we showed the galaxy that humans will never back down. The virile ambassador stepped forward. Together, we can build a future, one without war. Ria nodded. One step at a time. The Ghost Unit's mission had grown from a small scout team to a symbol of hope and unity. And the galaxy would never forget the day when humans stood tall and stunned their alien enemies. The battle for Zilara was over, but its echoes would last forever. Captain Ria Morgan stood on a ridge overlooking the battlefield. The rocky plains were scarred by the fight. Smoke rose in thin spirals from distant fires. The once quiet planet now bore the marks of war, but also hope. Her team gathered beside her, tired but proud. They had done what many believed impossible. They had held the line against the mighty Zinthari army and changed the course of a galaxy. After the war, the Zinthari had retreated, their forces broken and their commanders shaken. Commander Varkon's arrogance had cost his people dearly. Back on the Zinthari homeworld, discussions were underway. The war leaders debated what to do next. Some demanded revenge. Others, wiser and more cautious, suggested peace talks. Humans are not to be underestimated, one elder said. They fight with heart and mind. They have allies. They may become the strongest force in this region. The Zinthari realized the war had changed everything. The human heroes across Earth and its colonies, the story of the Ghost Unit spread like wildfire. Captain Morgan and her team were welcomed as heroes. Parades, speeches, and celebrations filled cities. People everywhere admired their courage and skill, but Ria knew this was only the beginning. We fight not for glory but for the future, she told a crowd of cheering people. A future where humans stand united, ready for whatever comes next. Her team shared her vision. Tira worked to help wounded soldiers heal. Lena continued developing new technology. Malik and Jax trained new recruits with stories of their battles. They were no longer just a scout unit. They were teachers, leaders, and symbols of hope. Building alliances, the arrival of the Viral as allies was the first step toward a larger peace. Together, humans and Viral began negotiations with the Zinthari. Talks were difficult and slow. Old wounds ran deep, but Rhea believed in the power of unity. "We must learn from our enemies," she said during one meeting. "We can build peace if we try." The Zinthari leaders, though proud, saw wisdom in her words. Over time, agreements were made, borders were drawn, trade routes opened. The galaxy slowly moved from war toward cooperation. A new galactic era years passed, and the memory of the battle on Zilara became legend. Children in schools learned about the brave humans who stood alone against an alien army. Stories of the Ghost Unit inspired generations. Human ships explored new worlds. Scientists worked with alien researchers. Artists created works celebrating unity across species. Captain Morgan often looked back on those hard days. She knew the fight had changed her and her team forever. But she also knew something else. That the courage of a few humans had helped change the destiny of many. The last message, one quiet night, under a sky full of stars, Rhea received a message from Earth Command. "Congratulations, Captain Morgan. Your bravery and leadership have inspired all of humanity. The galaxy remembers the day when humans stood proud and never gave up." Rhea smiled and looked at her team. They had faced darkness and come out stronger. "We started a legend," she said softly, "and that legend will grow. The future awaits." The stars shone bright as humans and their new allies prepared for the challenges ahead. The war on Zilara was only the first step in a much larger journey. But no matter what dangers the galaxy held, humanity had shown one thing clearly. When humans fight, they fight with heart, and that was a power no enemy could ever forget.